we have probably heard a few times growing up that you were made in God's image. But I don't know if you've ever taken some time to really sit in that. It says this: let us make mankind in our image. But I want you to understand that you were made in the image of God. And God took something that was holy and sacred, and he took it from being the actual God, and he kind of handed it into this image of us. And before the fall of man, it was amazing. It was a reflection. We are made like him, but he is still greater. He is still the creator, and we are still the created. Just a few things that I see, just in the very first 2 chapters of Scripture. I mean, the very beginning, that we have rule, or we have dominion over things. Something where before God had controlled absolutely everything, and God was in charge of everything, and now he has handed that off to us. Be fruitful and increase in numbers. Feel the idea of being fruitful is obviously talking about those of us who have been called to have kids and to multiply and to have families. Not everybody's called to that, I understand that. But God has given us, to me, this may be one of the greatest things in Scripture, that God is saying, I'm allowing you to create life. This is otherworldly. This is a supernatural, godlike thing that only he could do. And the first man, God creates, he breathes life into. According to Scripture, he only does this once. And from then on out, we have been passing on the very breath of God to our kids. And this forever life that God gave us was supposed to be us dwelling alongside the King of Kings, that we would live with God. We would hear him. We could speak to him. We could worship him, maybe even face to face. There's just this incredible holiness that God had given us. And so we have the fall of man. And what before was this incredible image of God. What we had before was like this representation, this sacredness that God had handed off to us. And now everything is shattered and everything changed. Now it's tough to hear the voice of God. And I still believe that you were made in his image, and I was made in his image. It's just tougher to find it. It's tougher to see that part. And you take things like this creativity part that I believe that the world has, because God has ordained us with this concept of creativity. But it's tough now. God has given us this sacred creativity, but because there's sin in the world, we use it. We use it for things it wasn't intended for. We use it for sinful things. And we're very creative with sinful things. And you take something like this idea that we are life givers. I know you can't read this, but it says life giving. We take this idea of having families. We take this idea of passing on this incredible sacred thing that God has given us. But now we've perverted it. And now sin has entered in it, and it's messed up. It's not what God originally designed for you and me to pass on the sacred breath of God. Now it's no longer about making families. It's about perversion and sex, and it's just become so convoluted and ugly. But hear me. I think you were still made in God's image. But when we step back and we look into this broken mirror and we see through these little fragments this idea That there, just a glimpse as you pass by, you see God. And he has put this amazing sacredness into you. It changes you.